This is KVUE News Daybreak.
Harrison was arguably one of the nicest people I ever met.
Longhorns remember the student killed on UT's campus this week. What we're learning about Harrison Brown and how you can help his family.
And Congress expected to pass a massive spending bill, but there's another topic that's consuming most of the lawmakers' attention in Washington, the latest backlash to the president's health care plan.
And things about to get a little tighter in the air. The major airline that's cutting legroom. Good Wednesday morning to you, and thank you for joining us for Daybreak. It is 6 a.m. I'm Brian May.
And I'm Yvonne Nava. We already barely had any I have good legroom here.
I've got a little legroom. There's no question.
I'm moving them around. Okay, well, we're going to check in with NV today for a look at our traffic, but let's start in the air, outside. Let's check in with Erica Lopez.
Let's do that, because in the air outside, we have some sprinkles in our viewing area. Notice Gulf moisture that's funneling in, light showers for us, but this cold front's going to push all that moisture out. Give us a line of showers and thunderstorms for this afternoon, though. Cooler temperatures by tomorrow. So, again, keep in mind some light developing showers. Nothing to affect your morning commute. May have some patchy drizzle on your windshield, though. Here's how today is going to play out as we progress through the rest of our Wednesday. 20% chance of showers the first half of the day. Lots of clouds and moisture out there. Dew points on the high side. It's this afternoon where a line of thunderstorms is going to develop along the frontal boundary by about 2 p.m. in the hill country, and then by about 5 p.m. for the eastern counties. So we do have a small severe weather threat for it. A slight risk is in place, meaning isolated strong to possibly severe storms this afternoon. Hail and wind is going to be our main issue. Not expecting much in form of extreme severe weather. NV has the latest on our road conditions this morning. How are they looking?
Pretty good for the most part. Good morning. This is a live tech stop view at 290 and Mopac northbound. You can see the roads are open and clear, so no major concerns. And this light drizzle is also not causing any concerns this morning for our roads. Now, this might change this afternoon as those percentages for rain increase. Now, for the most of the Austin metro area, we're giving you a green light, looking pretty good. Mopac southbound 45 to downtown, a 15-minute commute. Green light this morning. Guys, back to you.
Anavie, thanks. Family, friends, and the University of Texas community mourning the loss of a UT student that was killed in the stabbing back on Monday. KVUE's Corey Coffin joins us now live from UT, where several memorials are taking place this week. Corey?
A very good morning to you. A memorial will be held for Harrison Brown tonight. Another one was held last night. Members of the UT community gathered at UT's Catholic Center to pay their respects. Now, the clergy told us it was a time to comfort each other and help those impacted by the tragedy. The University Catholic Center is now accepting donations for a memorial fund for Brown's family, and we've got all those details up on KVUE.com as well about that fund. We also spoke to some people who felt like it was important to come out yesterday. Listen to what they had to say.
We're a community in pain and grief today, in times when we are faced with incomprehensible questions. It's not always important to have the right words to say or to think you can say something that makes it feel better, but sometimes just to be together is healing in itself.
Now, tonight's gathering will be at UT's main mall. That'll start at 7 this evening. And we want to let you know about another event happening on Friday. The Ransom Notes, that's the a cappella group Brown was a part of. They'll be having a tribute concert for him at their final concert. That'll be at Friday at 6 p.m. at UT's Texas Union Theater. Out here at the scene of the attack, all of the scene items are gone. Police had cordoned off this area for the past 2 days. They're now clear after police completed their on-campus investigation, and they'll continue helping out with the prosecution of this case. Kendricks White has been charged with murder. He's being held in jail on $1 million bond, and we also know that police believe he suffered a mental illness and was involuntarily committed earlier this year. Reporting live at UT campus, I'm Corey Coffin for KVUE News. Guys, back to you.
Corey, thank you. Many of Harrison Brown's classmates remembering the talented student. Two of his friends created a memorial for him in front of Gregory Gym yesterday.
Decided we would set up a little memorial oval with a cross in the middle of it at the actual spot. I just felt as though we were giving Harrison something that he deserved. It's more of just a memory to him, and also just I want our campus to be united and in remembrance.
University Catholic Center accepting donations for a memorial fund. to Brown's family. For more information on how you can help, go to our website, kvue.com.
UT President Greg Fenves is now closely monitoring the campus culture, and this after someone posted offensive flyers on campus grounds yesterday. Take a look. The flyer shows an African-American man holding a knife bearing the words, quote, "Around blacks, never relax." A UT student says she found the flyer on Tuesday on an emergency call box near the Littlefield Fountain. President Fenves has since ordered officials to remove all offensive flyers that are reported. New overnight, firefighters work to keep a fire at the Domain in North Austin from spreading from a set of stairs to apartments. Officials say the fire started on a public balcony around 2 o'clock this morning. Smoke spread into the hallways, forcing residents to evacuate. Once the smoke cleared, they were allowed to go back into their homes. Officials say there is no smoke damage or water damage. The cause of the fire is under investigation.
6:05 now, and Congress could pass a spending bill as early as today. The bill, a major compromise. Republicans getting an increase in military spending. Democrats holding on to programs they support like the EPA and Planned Parenthood. The bill will keep the government running until September. Even though the spending bill is expected to pass today, it's the new GOP health care plan that's getting all the attention this morning. President Donald Trump pushing for a vote, but it appears House Republicans still don't have the numbers to pass the major legislation. The big issue at hand, pre-existing conditions. States would be allowed to opt out of covering them. It's a move that satisfies the hardline Freedom Caucus, but not moderate Republicans.
This amendment torpedoes that. And I told the leadership I cannot support this bill with this provision in it.
Congressman Upton went on, who you just heard from there, went on to say he's working on an amendment to provide $8 billion over 5 years to help people with pre-existing conditions pay for premiums.
President Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin are on the same page, at least when it comes to a few issues. And that's according to White House officials. During a phone conversation between Trump and Putin yesterday, the two leaders talked about efforts to end terrorism in the Middle East and reduce tension with North Korea. This is the first time the two have spoken since last month's airstrike against a Syrian airbase. Well, happening right now, an urgent manhunt underway in Chicago. Authorities are looking for the person who ambushed two officers overnight. They were sitting in their car when two other cars pulled up and started shooting. Both officers are expected to recover.
U.S. Airlines making bank off of you this year. They brought in more than $4 billion in baggage fees last year, about 10% more than the year before. Also, about $1 million more per day. Not all fees climbed, though, last year. Fees collected for changing a reservation actually fell 4% to $2.9 billion. Some American Airlines flyers will have to go with a little less legroom. The company's saying they'll be cutting about 2 inches of space for some coach seats on their new 737 jetliners. United Airlines may soon follow in their footsteps as well.
I don't think that's a good idea. Oh, well, Tony Romo is heading here to Austin today. Lawmakers will honor the former Cowboys quarterback's career. And according to the Dallas Morning News, Romo is also going to ask lawmakers to support a bill allowing fantasy sports to operate in our state. Now let's check a look at the forecast with Erica Lopez.
Good morning, guys. Very dreary and sticky day out there as you're heading out the door. Dew points are in the 70s, temperatures in the 70s. It's not a very fun start to your morning. Isolated sprinkles also something that could be on your windshield as you're heading out the door. Keep in mind it's going to be mostly cloudy and muggy. Lots of Gulf moisture and clouds for southeastern Texas. Northwestern Texas has a cold front making its way through their viewing area, but check out the heart of the nation. Heavy rain that sparked up some flash flooding concerns for them. As for here, just some light showers have been developing on and off throughout the morning. Nothing in terms of heavy rain. This afternoon, we do have a better chance of having some strong thunderstorms in our forecast. About a 50% chance. Not everyone's going to see heavy storms, but we do have a decent chance of having some of these storms strong at times, and also a small severe threat. Strong winds and hail is possible this afternoon. I'm going to get in a little bit more detail in the full forecast on exactly what we can expect this afternoon, so make sure to stick around. Guys, back to you.
All right, Erica, thanks a lot. How about this? This is live in Round Rock. About 10 minutes ago, they started Yeah, they started letting people line up. Chick-fil-A is opening in Round Rock this weekend. This morning, these folks are going to have a chance to get some free food for an entire year. There's a new restaurant there right on University in Round Rock, and the first 100 people in line there. You can see the line. There's not quite 100 yet. Before the grand opening, will be eligible to receive 52 free meals for the next year. People began lining up again about 10 minutes ago. Now, you will need a valid ID to participate. There's also a specific zip code you have to be in, or a few zip codes you have to be in order to participate. The restaurant's at 305 University Boulevard. For more information, you can go to our website. I also tweeted out the information this morning so you can find out.
Each of the lanes, I just did a unofficial check. It looked like it was 25-25, so that's
so
about 50
we're lining them
already.
up in 20. So there are 2 more 25s, and we'll be at 100, right?
We'll be at 100. Yes. 50 plus 25 and 25.
52 weeks of free Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty good to me.
That's a lot of Polynesian sauce.
That's a lot of Polynesian sauce.
Well, another controversial incident up in the skies, caught on camera and released the same day. Airlines are set to be in the hot seat. How airline officials are trying to rebuild relationships between flight crews and customers, and they're also wanting to cut back on seat room. I don't know. Doesn't look good to me.
And a local entrepreneur who could never seem to catch a break at one time with almost no money to his name and facing eviction from his apartment had a moment that changed everything. That story coming up after the break.
All right, well, the tech industry continues to grow in Austin as many businesses have been able to get their footing here in town, including one company KVUE's Jay Wallace explains has a creator who never seems to give up.
Local Air is an Austin-based startup that provides travelers with tips and suggestions of where to go and what to do from local residents. When it was launched 4 years ago, it only served Austin. Now, just today, it expanded to its 50th city in Maui. But before this expansion even happened, before Local Air even existed, the company's creator found out that the path to success can be a winding one. Joe Spearman has never had the luxury of knowing what lies ahead.
I grew up, very poor, like food stamps.
Here's little Joa. He grew up in Killeen, Texas, with 2 brothers and a single mother who needed Joa to step up.
When I was 11, I was like, well, I need to find a way to, pay for school clothes and things to help out my mom.
So for inspiration, one of his older brothers.
He and his best friend were doing it where they were cutting grass for our neighbors, and they were doing it like $20 and splitting it so they'd both get $10. And I was like, well, I can cut grass for the same people for $15. And within a couple of months, I kind of put them out of business. It sounds like a harsh entrepreneur story, but I think that's just me being like a natural kind of hustler in that way.
But Joa's story had only just started. Next up, college.
No one in my family had graduated from college before, but it was something that I knew that I wanted to do.
It wouldn't be easy, but he was determined to carve his own path. As a high school senior, he started applying for scholarship after scholarship. Out of more than 100 applications, he landed about 30 of them.
So that was how I was able to kind of piecemeal the scholarship funds to pay for college.
But after college, the older Joa just couldn't escape that younger grass-cutting Joa.
That entrepreneurial hustle has stayed in me even since I was a kid.
He wanted to create, to take a risk.
I kind of just said, I'm going to start a new business every year for 10 years until one of them sticks.
And he stuck to the plan for years, even as each plan and vision failed and his bank account shrunk.
That's me kind of clawing the business to that next level.
At one point, Joa started selling his CDs, his clothes, anything he could stand to lose to fund his dreams.
At those moments, I have to keep going, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to keep going.
So a couple years back, with $150 to his name, a car about to be repossessed, and an eviction notice on his apartment's door, one of his best friends, Kent, was getting married.
He asked me to be a groomsman.
And Joa says he couldn't say no. And instead of making the choice that most of us would make, the logical choice, he used $148 to get a tux for that wedding.
That's the tux right here.
And at that wedding, in that tux, with only $2 left to his name, Joa met a light at the end of the tunnel. An investor.
God works in mysterious ways, or karma, or whatever you want to believe in. I think it all worked in that moment.
And at that moment, all those roadblocks were cleared, and he took his first steps in creating what is now Localer. Joa's growing business has now raised more than $3 million in investment capital and has more than 100,000 people from around the world utilizing his business every month.
And it's by far the best business I've ever touched.
This now successful entrepreneur finally has clarity. His future is today. And that's because he just does what needs to be done, whether it be for his mom, for his education, or for his dreams.
I've never viewed failure as just failure outright. I've always viewed failure as an opportunity to learn.
In Austin, Jay Wallace, KVUE News.
Taking a live look outside, Skycam's a little shaky. We have some breezy conditions out there for some. It's sticky for pretty much everyone, though. Check out your dew point, 71, still increasing. We were in the mid-60s this morning. That's a lot of moisture hanging around our viewing area, which is giving us some isolated showers this morning. 74 for ABIA, a degree cooler in Camp Mabry. This is the setup. We have Gulf moisture. It's going to clash with this cold front. Right now, the south side of the system along the cold front, it's rather dry. It's north where they're seeing heavy rain, flash flooding concerns for portions of Kansas, Oklahoma, also into Missouri for this afternoon. This is what it looks like outside this morning across our viewing area. Isolated light sprinkles on and off. No severe weather threat in our forecast for the first half of our day. It's this afternoon where things get a little bit stormy. Lots of clouds is what you can expect, though. Not expecting much sunshine at all today, calling it a mostly cloudy day. By this afternoon, after about 2 p.m. or so, that's our best chance of seeing some strong to possibly severe storms this afternoon. And then once we get through this cold front that's pushing through our viewing area, cooler temperatures, lower dew points, and some sunshine in our forecast. So again, keep in mind the sprinkles for the first half of your day. Lots of patchy drizzle out there is expected. I'm going to go back, though, so we can go through the timeline of this cold front approaching to our viewing area by early afternoon. Notice a line of showers and storms beginning to develop in front of this frontal boundary. As it continues to sag further down south, that line is going to develop a little bit more. This is why our eastern counties later in the evening, especially with daytime heating, things will get a little bit stronger. As it continues to push down south, I think that's where we'll have a bigger threat anywhere from 2 to about 7 p.m. for our south and eastern counties this afternoon. Clear skies after that, cooler temperatures also. But our main concern with this system is going to be to the east of us, so we're actually pretty lucky in terms of severe weather threat. For us, just isolated strong to severe storms are possible. Our greatest threat will be hail and possibly some strong to damaging winds also. That's why we're putting that in the medium category for your severe weather threat today. Flooding, not a concern as it's going to move pretty quickly. Tornado threat, very low. Mold in the medium category today. Check out your latest counts every single day in the statesman. A 50% chance of those storms today. Check out all the sun right after that cold front passes. Anavid has the latest on the roads this morning. Any major accidents going on?
Just one near here 290 and northbound Mopac. This is actually closer to the Y at Oak Hill. The accident we are monitoring is at William Cannon Drive at 290. So if you're driving in this area towards the city, you may want to watch out for that as you hit the road. Loop 360 Mopac to Pennybacker Bridge. 10-minute commute, 4 minutes, 290 to Cesar Chavez. Guys, back to you.
Anavid, thank you. Samsung, the latest tech company to start testing self-driving cars. And as ABC's Candace Gibson and Diane Maceda tell us, Apple's reporting a surprising drop in iPhone sales.
In today's Tech Bites, could Apple be losing its shine?
The company shipped fewer iPhones than Wall Street had expected in the first 3 months of the year.
The surprise drop put a 2% dent in the company's stock price, but CEO Tim Cook says Apple Watch sales have nearly doubled since last year.
Apple rival Samsung, meanwhile, is the newest entry in the driverless vehicle race.
South Korea has given the company permission to test a car that doesn't require a driver. It's a modified version of a vehicle that features Samsung cameras and artificial intelligence software.
And Facebook Messenger has rolled out new instant games worldwide.
The feature was first introduced here in the U.S. in November. Now 50 games are going global. No downloads necessary.
Facebook says in the past 90 days, those instant games were played 1.5 billion times.
One more excuse not to talk to the person next to you.
Those are your Tech Bites.
Time to play.
No.
Some light rain out there this morning as you're heading off to school. You might need an umbrella because some of those storms could be stronger at times this afternoon. Here's a look at what we're tracking. A 20% chance will increase to a 50% chance by this afternoon as a cold front will push through our viewing area. Needless to say, it's going to be cloudy, gloomy, sticky out there. Temperatures are going to be quite warm also. So I know we have a lot of clouds, but UV index is still considered to be in the high category at 6. So still, don't forget to put on your sunscreen. I know you don't see much sunshine in the forecast, but there is sunshine in the forecast in a few days and cooler temperatures. I'm going to talk about that in the full forecast. Guys, back to you.
Someone help! This guy's crazy!
Major brawl erupting on a plane headed from Tokyo to Los Angeles. This is the latest incident caught on camera. These two passengers began fighting just before takeoff. The airline says the man in the red there was eventually pulled off the plane and arrested. No word on what caused the fight. Airlines expected to be in the hot seat again tomorrow after backlash over their interactions with customers.
We're kind of sick of it as the consuming Americans, but there will come a day when Congress won't accept it anymore on behalf of the American people.
Yesterday, 5 top executives promised to do better in front of a House committee. United CEO promising a change, and American Airlines also apologizing for the way a mother was treated during a dispute over a stroller on their airline. Both incidents ignited debate about poor service and lack of customer-friendly policies on U.S. airline. Committee members told the airline representatives that it's up to them to work together to improve their service. Still ahead on Daybreak, justice for the 15-year-old young man killed by a Texas police officer. This now happened 3 days after the officer opened fire into that young man's vehicle.
If the election had been on October 27th, I'd be your president, and it wasn't.
Hillary Clinton getting personal, who she's blaming for her election loss.
This is KVUE News Daybreak.
Welcome back. 6:30 is your time.
6:30 is the time, and the gang's all here. It's time now to check in with Storm Team meteorologist Erica Lopez, who's looking to have a very busy day on this Wednesday. Right, Erica?
Yeah, pretty busy. Even starting this morning, we have some sprinkles out there this morning. Not to mention it's sticky as you're heading out the door. Check out the dew points, 70s. When dew points are in the 60s, that's when it starts feeling uncomfortable. So we are extremely uncomfortable outside. Temperatures are warm also. We didn't cool down much overnight because of that humidity in the atmosphere. Here's the light sprinkles that have developed in the last 3 hours. Very isolated, so nothing extremely heavy for this morning. It's this afternoon where things could get slightly busier, increasing a 20% chance of that rain shower activity to a 50% chance this afternoon. It's all due to a cold front that's going to push through our viewing area. That's going to increase the chance. And also for our eastern counties, I think that's our main concern, calling it isolated to strong storms that will be possible this afternoon. Our main threat will be some strong winds, possibly some small hail. Not expecting rotation this afternoon, and flooding is on the very low side. Let's take a look at the roads this morning. Ana V. Reyes has updates on what's happening.
Absolutely. Thank you, Erica. Well, this is a live tech stop view at I-35 at Wells Branch Parkway. You can see a lot of brake lights here, and especially because of this light that is out. It's flashing red, so make sure you take a look at that before hitting the roads. If we zoom in a little bit, this is a live traffic map view of this incident area. Again, I-35 service bound on the southbound lanes at Wells Branch Parkway. Guys, back to you.
All right, thanks so much. Well, University of Texas students are still trying to make sense of what happened after a failed stabbing on campus on Monday. Last night, students gathered to remember the freshman Harrison Brown, who was killed in the attack. Of the 3 others injured in the attack, we have learned that 2 of those stabbing victims have been released from the hospital. One of them had to undergo surgery and remains in the hospital, recovering from his wounds. 21-year-old Kendricks White is facing a murder charge for the attack. He is being held on a $1 million bond.
On to something now we've never heard from an American president before. President Donald Trump calling for a government shutdown over the budget, even though Congress just hammered out a short-term budget plan. President Trump firing off an angry tweet yesterday morning saying, quote, "Our country needs a good shutdown in September to fix the mess," end quote. The president apparently unhappy that Democrats claimed that was a victory for them.
I think the president is frustrated with the fact that he negotiated in good faith with the Democrats and they went out to try and spike the football and make him look bad.
All of that overshadowed by the other top Republican priority, repealing and replacing Obamacare. House Republicans pushing a bill that would allow states to opt out of the requirement preventing insurance companies from discriminating against people with pre-existing conditions. Republicans hoping for another vote on the bill by the end of the week. At the same press conference yesterday where they addressed the president's remarks on the shutdown, Press Secretary Sean Spicer surprised reporters when he ended up not taking any questions during the briefing. Take a look at the reaction.
Sean, thanks so much. Please. Sean. Hey, Sean.
They sound very upset and disappointed. Spicer left the briefing room along with the rest of his colleagues. As you heard reporters yelling out his name as they tried to ask some questions, the press secretary didn't answer any of those questions and didn't come back. Reporters say huge stories broke that day, and they wanted the chance to ask him about those stories.
Well, this morning we're hearing from Hillary Clinton for the first time on what she says led to her loss in November. She made the comments Tuesday at the Women for Women International Luncheon in New York. She blamed Russian interference and the fact that the FBI Director James Comey released a letter about an investigation into her emails on October 28th. She said if the election had been held on the day before that FBI letter, she would be the president.
Did we make mistakes? Of course we did. Did I make mistakes? Oh my gosh, yes. You know, you'll read my confession and my request for absolution. But the reason why I believe we lost were the intervening events in the last 10 days.
Clinton says right now she is focused on writing and taking her dog on walks. President Donald Trump responded to Clinton's speech overnight on Twitter. He says FBI Director Comey was the best thing that ever happened to Hillary Clinton and that he gave her a free pass for many bad deeds. The phony Trump-Russia story was an excuse used by the Democrats as justification for losing the election. Perhaps Trump just ran a great campaign. End quote.
6:35 now. The police officer who shot and killed a 15-year-old young man has been fired. The shooting happened in Balch Springs in North Texas over the weekend. That's up near Dallas. In a news conference, the Balch Springs police chief said the officer, Roy Oliver, violated department policy. Saturday night, police came to a home to break up a party when they came across a car with Jordan Edwards and 4 other teens inside the vehicle. At first, police said the car reversed toward the officers, and Oliver felt threatened, so he opened fire on the car, killing Edwards. But after looking at the dash cam video, the police chief there said the car had been driving away from the officer when Oliver fired. The Dallas County Medical Examiner's Office has ruled Jordan's death a homicide due to a rifle wound to the head. Oliver's been with the department, or had been with the department, since 2011. He does have 10 days now to appeal. The Texas Alcoholic Beverage Commission has closed 3 Austin bars for drugs and drink solicitation. The TABC canceled permits for La Movida, Movie Night, Los Cocodrilos Bar, and Pericos Bar in Austin. They found evidence of drug trafficking and drink solicitation. That's when the workers at the business offer to spend time with a customer if they buy a drink at a marked up price. DPS and U.S. Homeland Security also investigating these bars on allegations of organized criminal activity.
6:36. Take a look at this incredible dash cam video out of Washington State. The car driving down the road comes to a stop at a light when out of nowhere that plane begins to fall from the sky, clips a power line, then bursts into a ball of flames. The plane then slid several hundred feet down the road with broken wings and came to rest on its side. Miraculously, police say there were no serious injuries from the plane or on the ground. The National Transportation Safety Board is now investigating. The people we deport may be delivered to the hands of the cartels, the same cartels who put drugs on our streets.
KVUE defenders traveled down to the Texas-Mexico border to walk the path of those deported near McAllen, Texas. Investigative reporter Erica Crawford joins us now live in studio with what she saw.
Right,
Erica?
and this is something that really impacts all of our community. In January, 51 people were detained by Immigration and Customs Enforcement. They're all accused of living in the Austin area illegally. Some of them had criminal convictions. And then in April, ICE conducted another sweep, and at that time, 153 people were detained. It was a bigger sweep, so of those, 24 lived in the Austin-Waco area, according to the ICE press release. So we walked the path taken by many deported. We crossed the international bridge. We visited the office where people get formally accepted back into Mexico. It's called repatriation. And then we saw the dangers that they faced right after that. Shelters in town say they try to help the migrants.
Stand by.
And we spoke with a sister, a nun who runs one of those shelters, and she talks about how the cartel elements were everywhere. We'll play a little bit of that sound for you at midday. But you'll see those dangers that we saw, that the deported face in our KVUE Defenders investigation is called Deported to Danger.
Now, Erica, you talk a little about the dangers. I'm from a border town, and I will say, honestly, I used to always go, whether we'd go to a nightclub or we'd go to have a restaurant, you know, to have dinner and go to a restaurant. A lot of people don't really go from the U.S. side, don't really go to that side if they don't need to because of that danger. What did you feel, you know, when you were there? What was your interpretation?
Yeah, absolutely. And you're from like the Laredo area, so Nuevo Laredo, where it really got intense with the Zetas when they were fighting with a lot of the police and the military. And that's what's still going on to an extent today. And this is what makes it really dangerous. There was a point that we saw when we were doing the investigation, and I worked along the border for 6.5 years before coming to KVUE. And at that time, we had a policy as a station to not cross because it was too dangerous. So I really felt honored that I was able to go in and get to see firsthand the dangers that people face when they cross. And it's something that the cartels are targeting migrants. They were targeting migrants more than they would target a reporter.
Yeah.
It's a great story. We can't wait to see it tonight. Thanks for being here this morning, Erica. Catch that tonight, of course, our Defenders investigation right here on KVUE Night Beat at 10. Erica, thanks.
Thank you, guys.
Time now to get a check of our forecast with another Erica here on the staff. Erica Lopez this time. Hi, Erica Lopez.
Erica number 2. Temperatures in the 70s this morning. As you're heading out the door, it's muggy, it's sticky. And also some spotty sprinkles is something you could run into. We have a lot of Gulf moisture in our region. The good news is that we'll have much better improved conditions tomorrow. Unfortunately, we just have to get through this cold front that's going to push through our viewing area. The good news is that we're out of the main severe threat. This morning, flooding concerns north of us in Kansas, Oklahoma, making its way into Missouri and Arkansas. As for here, we've had just some light streamer showers in our viewing area. Check out north of Houston, though. Some of those storms have been heavier at times. That could be something we run into throughout today. Very on the light side, spotty sprinkles, but again, it's this afternoon where percentages will increase from a 20% chance of showers to a 50% chance of showers, some possibly strong at times. I'm going to break down the severe weather threat. It's very low, but we do have a little threat in our forecast. I'll talk about that in the full forecast. Guys, back to you.
Erica number 2, thank you. The Boston Red Sox have apologized to the Baltimore Orioles center fielder Adam Jones. This after Monday night's game where Red Sox fans booed and threw food at Jones, even taunting him with racial slurs. Yesterday, fans apologized, giving Jones a standing ovation when he came to bat. Red Sox management considering punishment for those fans involved in the incident. Boston police also investigating. They say criminal charges are possible.
Do I need glasses?
Probably.
Look, it's Brian. I'm ditching the dress, throwing on the yellow apron. Take This Job continues today. After the break, how I did as a bronze sculptor. It's a process known as casting. You may not know this, but one of the largest bronze foundries in the country sits just east of Austin off Highway 71. Deep in the Heart Art Foundry makes bronze sculptures for 165 artists around the world. That's a tall order, so I thought, well, maybe they could use an extra set of hands. Here's today's take on this job.
This one is too hot.
Just one glance at this glow of molten bronze, and Clint Howard was hooked.
I fell in love with the process, and I knew I was going to figure out some way to do that for the rest of my life.
Casting was his calling.
1, 2, 3.
As owner of Deep in the Heart Art Foundry in Bastrop, Howard is the creativity behind these beautiful bronze sculptures you'll find all over the world. But none of these works of art would be possible without the skill of his foundry crew. 28 men and women.
Just fill that pot up.
Today, he had 29.
The original piece that the artist sculpts is molded, and this is a mold.
Next, you make a wax replica of the piece. Look, it's Brian. But even mini Brian isn't perfect. All wax sculptures need to be cleaned up for imperfections.
There's going to be a micro bubble. There's going to be a seam line where the mold opened and closed. All of that stuff has to be fixed manually.
Once that's finished, the wax is repeatedly dipped in a slurry bath and coated in sand.
Do you think I got enough?
Yeah, you got plenty.
And this is what again? What material is it?
This is a ceramic shell.
But just a few seconds in, and I'm already getting a write-up for failing to put on my safety goggles.
Do I need glasses?
Probably.
My contacts are like, I can't see you.
Once I get my bearings, we head to the kiln, where it's time to bring on the heat and the heavy-duty safety gear, Kevlar chaps.
It'll reflect molten metal at 2,000, 3,000 degrees.
And protective gloves for my hands and forearms. I'm getting nervous, but my new getup has me thinking about an iconic 80s movie.
Do I look like Jennifer Beals from Flashdance? Kind of. She's a welder.
Much hotter. Okay.
All right, let's get serious and focus. Time to watch the pros do the first couple of pours before it's my turn.
Let's go. Okay. So stay at this angle over here, yeah, and get right there. Perfect. Okay. And the next one. Okay, and back over here. Set it back right there.
Whew, it's incredibly heavy. And have I mentioned hot? Once the shell is cool enough, though, you break it out.
Hit it real hard right there.
I can hit that, right?
The bronze is then cleaned off. It goes to the metal department to be assembled.
Spray the whole piece with this chemical spray bottle.
And finally, the patina process, where you oxidize the metal to give it that antique look. And voila, you've got your masterpiece. It was fun. It takes a whole lot of skill and patience. By the way, Deep in the Heart Art Foundry is hiring. So they're looking for some people, and they do all the on-site job training. So you don't have to have a degree. You can go there, and they can teach you everything. So, Brian, if you want another job, maybe you want to moonlight or something, you can head out there. Okay. This weekend marks the 25th anniversary of Sculpt Fest. The Texas Society of Sculptors has a lot planned for this free, family-friendly event at the Oasis. There will be some awesome demonstrations like stone carving, clay sculpting, and bronze pouring, like I did. It's Friday night from 6:30 to 9:30 p.m., Saturday from 11 to 9:30, and Sunday from 11 a.m. to 4. A lot going on.
Looks like a lot of fun. And coming up tomorrow, I get to have some fun. We continue our Take This Job series. I head up to Round Rock and do a little bit of that. Helping out with some horse boarding there at C&C Pleasure Horse Stables. We clean, we feed, and we dump. All for the job. It's a lot of fun.
So similar, so similar. Now let's check with Erica, see how things are going.
Similar to cleaning up your eggs off your desk, Yvonne?
Similar, yes.
He's a pro, he's a pro. Hey, live look outside downtown on the sky cam. It's gloomy, sticky. We have some patchy drizzle out there. Dew points are in the 70s. It's not very pretty. Check this out, 71 degrees for your dew points. When we're over 60 degrees, that's when it starts feeling uncomfortable and sticky. We're in the 70s, even temperatures in the 70s. It's warm. That's because we're under this warm front. We're in the warm sector of this major system, bringing in the heavy rain for the heart of the nation. That's where Kansas, Oklahoma got dumped on overnight. Now flash flood watch is in place. East of that, St. Louis, Springfield, you're in the heart of those flash flood watches. As for us, we just have some light sprinkles in our viewing area. That's going to be the main concern for this morning. Not the case this afternoon, though, because the cold front associated with that system is going to push through us later this afternoon. So here's how it's all going to play out. Your morning commute, drizzle on your windshield for sure. Now the cold front will be approaching our viewing area by early afternoon. Anytime after 2 p.m. is when we're tracking these storms to be stronger at times. And then as it moves further south, as the system moves further south, our eastern counties are our main concern for the stronger to possibly severe storms. That cold front is going to continue to push to the south and the east out of our viewing area by about 8 p.m. North winds will settle in. That's going to bring in a cooler and drier air mass. But here's our severe weather threat. Hail and winds is really going to be the main concern. And again, our eastern counties, because that line develops a little bit stronger the further south it moves. So that's why that's our main concern. Isolated showers potentially strong at times as that cold front enters in again by about 2 p.m. So wind and hail, our main concern. That's the medium category. Very, very low tornado threat. Not expecting rotation at all. And flooding, not a threat either, because of how fast that cold front's going to move through our viewing area. Mold is expected to be in the medium category, pecan and grass in the low category. Check out your latest counts every single day in the Statesman. The good news, once we get through today, check out the cool down tomorrow. Daytime highs in the 70s, lots of sun headed our way to end the work week and into the weekend. And Avi Reyes has the latest on the roads this morning. How are they looking?
Pretty good. I have good news to report. The light is back on. Traffic light is back on at I-35 at Wells Branch Parkway. So you can see traffic is driving and flowing quite nicely. I-35 northbound Buda to downtown, just over half an hour, 38 minutes. 27 minutes I-35 southbound Round Rock to downtown for driving. Loop 360 Mopac to Pennybacker Bridge, a 10-minute commute. 4-minute commute, 290 to Cesar Chavez on Mopac northbound. Guys, back to you.
All right, thank you so much. Well, doctors are issuing a warning about heartburn and how acid reflux can lead to cancer. Most people think medications like Tums can help reduce their risk, but the Esophageal Cancer Action Network, or ECAN, says otherwise. And if people continue to have heartburn, it can actually be a sign of cancer. The group wants the FDA to put warning labels on all reflux meds. 6:52 is your time. A live look outside this daybreak from one of our tower cameras. Erica Lopez joins us next with a final look at our forecast. We'll also check on traffic too.
The UT community remembers Harrison Brown, the student killed in Monday's stabbing attack. I'll have details on the different events happening, plus the very latest in the case with the suspect.
Welcome back. Family, friends, and the University of Texas community mourning the loss of a UT student in this week's stabbing attack.
KVUE's Corey Coffin joins us live from UT this morning, where several memorials are taking place. Good morning, Corey.
Well, good morning to you both. A memorial for Harrison Brown being held tonight, and also there was one last night that several members of the community came out to. That was held at UT's Catholic Center, and the clergy told us it's just a time to have everybody come out and comfort each other during this very difficult time. Anybody impacted by the tragedy in any small way. The University Catholic Center is now accepting donations as well. It's a memorial fund for Brown's family. We've got details up on that on KVUE.com. Tonight's gathering will be at UT's main mall starting at 7 this evening, and we also want you to know about one going on Friday. The Ransom Notes, that's an a cappella group that Brown was part of. We'll have a tribute for him at their final concert. Now, that final concert will be Friday at 6 in the evening at UT's Texas Union Theater. As for the suspect, Kendricks White, he's been charged with murder. He is in jail this morning on a $1 million bond. And we're also learning that police believe that he does have a history of mental illness. He was involuntarily committed earlier this year. So as soon as we hear more details about as this case moves forward, we'll provide those to you on air and online. Reporting from UT's campus, Corey Coffin for KVUE News.
Corey, thanks. Time for one last check of traffic.
Thank you. Mopac southbound 45 to downtown, 22 minutes. Mopac southbound on 2222 to Cesar Chavez, a 4-minute commute, green light there. Erica, how does weather shape up?
Light drizzle this morning. Best chance for storms will be after 2 p.m. 50% chance of them being possibly strong also. But yeah, it's gloomy and sticky out there.
Yeah, that picture says it all.
Sure does.
Thanks for joining us, though.
Have a great Wednesday.